Welcome back to another episode of the forecast. Today we're going to be going over the month of April plus the Q&A. Those who submitted questions, I picked the next three after the ones that were answered last month. So the month of April is going to be all about activation. It's going to be about movement. It's going to be about truly noticing what abundance is for you because by the summer, abundance is going to be one of the biggest topics that we're going to be talking about. We're going to notice how the world almost changes definition of what abundance is. I truly see everyone going back to noticing that abundance has a lot to do with the wisdom you carry, which is so exciting for me to go there. Also, with who is there for you, connection, almost like how am I going to enjoy life? How am I going to learn how to enjoy life without consumption? And April, the energy of consumption is going to be a big deal. It's almost like life is going to start showing you what you believe you can't live with, but it's not that you can't live with that. You just thought it was almost going to save you from something that you've been avoiding or you've been almost wanting to detach from. So I'm not talking about just material consumption. I do think it's nice to be able to consume, but this April it's almost like a cleanse of what is not activating me anymore, that I'm still consuming from music, anything that has to do with vibration. And we are vibration, we are energy. So it's going to be very joyful and fun to go through almost like this self discovery because we are in 2026, the year of self sovereignty. All self sovereignty is going to take you towards doing, the more you tap into it, is a bigger and more profound self discovery. So, if you journal about the topic of consumption, you might notice that it's not about the material, it's more about the feeling, about the sensation you get after doing something. So, the way I was seeing the energy, it was almost like a checklist of, oh, okay, I did something. Now I feel good. That's not going to feel good anymore. Because if it doesn't have purpose, if it doesn't have intention, if it doesn't really belong to you and it belongs to almost like a mask or a wound you were wearing, it's going to feel almost like, well, it feels like I didn't do anything. So I do invite everyone for this month to really notice the activation of who you truly are, what do you truly want to do when it comes to mind, body, and soul. What is spirituality to you? I've said this the past 6 years. Spirituality isn't about acting a certain way. You were born spiritual. And you already have what you need to get what you want, which means since you were born spiritual, you have all this wisdom you're here to activate. And that's how you start learning that life is easy, that you get to enjoy life. You stop going against the friction of life, and you understand that every type of friction is a redirection, it's a activation, it's a lesson that is trying to teach you something about you and what's around you. So when we overconsume something and overextend ourselves, there's this disconnection from the alignment of what you're here to do, what you're here to learn, what you're here to be. So it's almost like you have no availability to project onto us that fraction of light of God that you are and show us the impact that you're here to make. And not necessarily because it has to be this precise impact, it's more of getting to enjoy one another. We are going to be going through this energy flow of abundance this summer. And abundance is going, just worldwide, is going to change its definition. It's almost like we're going to go back to the simplicity of understanding that abundance has a lot to do with what surrounds us, who surrounds us, how abundant we are because we're spiritual beings having this human experience. And we don't have to look a certain way to be spiritual. And wounds don't have to stay for longer to make us important. They actually get to become scars that we don't have to stare at all the time. So I do see this almost like purge of over consuming what made everyone feel important and change the definition of importance. So April is a really good month. It's going to shake us a little bit in the best way possible. I did write some notes. I wrote some dates. I know you like dates. I know you like the planning, and I'm here for it. From the 4th to the 12th, let's focus on the ownership of your energy. What part of your energy are you not owning? And I'll give you an example. Let's say that you want to wear a very specific outfit, but since you're not owning your energy, you're thinking about what everyone else is going to think, what everyone else is wearing. Why wouldn't I? No, come back to you, that creativity, that co creation within you of why do I want to wear this? Okay? Come back to, wait, why do I enjoy this? Wait, why am I over explaining myself? Ownership. And journal a little bit about feeling like you owe something. Like, I owe energy, I owe something. I received love, so I have to give back all this love. Being reciprocal is a beautiful thing. It's almost like being able to share with one another and connect. But when you overextend yourself, you're consuming something. You're consuming a belief. You're over consuming a very specific type of energy. And it's key to notice. Okay? Next dates. From the 13th to the 20th. It's about focusing on how the external world is reclaiming their power. So if everyone around you, or some people around you, those who are a little more connected to what's going on, starts claiming back their power, there might be a little pushback from you or them of, why are you changing? Why am I not receiving what I wanted from you? Why are you responding differently? There might be a little bit of projection there, so I invite everyone to understand we're a collective, we co-create together, we coexist. So noticing that that pattern is happening is going to be key to not project towards someone else, but just ask. Just make it simple. Ask. If you feel confused about something, ask. And if you don't feel comfortable asking, ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Okay? Next one. From the 23rd to the 27th. Notice I skipped 20th to 23rd. That means because rest. That energy there is like, just relax a little bit. Relax. Don't do much throughout those days. If you already have plans, that's fine, but really focus on the tool of rest, on the tool of release, on the tool of, I'm okay, just not doing a lot, okay? 23rd to 27th. Focus on the opportunity to trust yourself. When I channeled this specific phrase, it was almost like everyone's inner child is going to be really activated to have fun again, to notice what it is that you have been almost like avoiding within yourself, because having fun isn't important, because having fun isn't mature, because having fun is joyful, and everyone's gonna look at you like, why are you doing that? So it's about coming back to that moment of, wow, I get to have fun. Wow, my inner child has been speaking to me this whole time, not through the wounds all the time, sometimes just through the reminder of what I truly like to do. On the other side, something that did come up for that week is, if anyone, I don't love this word, but it's coming up and it seems important. If anyone has any type of addiction to anything, again, overconsumption, it's going to be heightened those days, because usually when your inner child has been ignored or avoided, there tends to be almost like this, like you're always thirsty about something. So if you've done the healing work, but you still feel caught up in something, to be able to finish the loop, it's about letting go of that part of your ego that feels very safe with that type of overconsumption. There's a part of your ego that doesn't want to deal with any of the exchange. It's almost like it's too soothing to stop. Okay? And you can also work with me, I can help. Okay. And I'm talking about emotional addiction, by the way. That addiction of, I want to fight because I believe in justice so much. And, that type of addiction. Notice the emotion that you overconsume the most. Okay? Okay, my loves. Next one, from the 28th to the 30th. Focus on what does balance mean to you. Because May is going to bring up a lot of the energy that has to do with that emotion I'm talking about, how to let it go, how to balance it. So a week before you're already going to start feeling it. It's going to be like a whole new reality. It's going to feel like a huge shift. So if we're moving into a very emotional month, the month of May, and you just went through trying to release overconsumption, there might be this heightened energy of then what's going to soothe these emotions that I haven't been able to process. And the best way to process them is by noticing what they want. What do those emotions want? It's an alert. What are they trying to tell you? Okay? Now, for this month, being able to notice what wounds you were given by lineage, by those around you, by strangers. And when wounds are given, it means that maybe you had, this is an example of maybe you had a family member who they didn't believe in love, so they were constantly saying that love wasn't true and love doesn't exist. And they were presenting to you a wound. And if you grabbed that energy and you truly consumed it, and you have that belief system, you were given that wound. And it's not done by mistake, it's divine, but it's time to let it go. So I do invite everyone to go over those belief systems that tend to come up and that you keep saying, well, life keeps showing me it's that way. Yeah, because you have those glasses on. That's what it is. You do have those glasses on. And by September, everyone's gonna be taking off those glasses of old belief systems if they want to. So this mud season coming up is gonna be really fun. But okay. In general, the energy of April is a very creative one. It's very fiery. It's like opening up something with abundance, but sometimes it's like winning the lottery. People spend it in a second. So if you start feeling a lot of energy, instead of being like, I don't know what to do with this, what do I do? Something's about to happen, something needs to happen. You're being recharged. So it's almost like you're going up a level of energy that you hadn't truly felt before. So get used to it. It's gonna start being that way. So instead of wanting to use it instantly, start walking with that energy. Keep doing those walking meditations, those dancing meditations. Start noticing how you truly want to structure your day. Start noticing what lifestyle you truly want without having the overconsumption. That's going to be key. But okay, let's start with Q&A then. So, the first question that was next is, what does equality mean in spirituality? I cannot say how much I love this question. I cannot exaggerate it, how much I love this question, because I do think it's, when we hear so many stories and how everyone's going through something different, and then you hold a compassionate heart and you want to help people and you want to believe that we can all be happy, then we would believe that we have control over everything. And sometimes that's not necessarily compassion, that's just wanting to be comfortable. And I completely understand that. I want to be comfortable too. I want to be comfortable in being able to go online and not see unnecessary things that are happening. I want to be comfortable with being able to walk outside or and not see things that I believe are unfair. So when I connect to the meaning of equality and spirituality, it doesn't make sense to the material to the physical. And that definition is that everyone's here to learn something different and undo many things. And by undoing, it means that whatever our lineage has gone through, someone has to break the cycle. And sometimes it's not just one person, it's a group of people. It's a group of the family members. It's everyone has some sort of role. It's a group in a community, it's a group in a country. So, equality and spirituality means that everyone is here doing that, breaking a cycle, learning a lesson, expanding their energy, moving through the ocean of emotions. That's what equality means. But then our eyes sees the lack of physical equality and it's confusing. It's like, what do you mean? But then we have to remember about past lives. We have to remember lineage carries specific energies and how we are our ancestors. So I'm not saying I love the definition because I always check again and I'm like, are we sure? Can we do something? But I do want to say that we are in an era, in a moment where everyone's doing the work in some way or form. Yes, there's people that maybe aren't, but at the same time they are because I was actually talking about this in the master class. There's a lot of good teachers out there, and one of my students or my clients that was in the master class was like, I know, Alexia, that you say that my boss is a really good teacher, but she's really mean. She's not a good person, and I'm actually teaching her how to be nice to herself or teaching her how to not work so much. And to me, a really good teacher is someone who portrays these tough aspects that we have to confront to be able to activate a tool wisdom, to be able to activate something that is able to even speak up for ourselves, be able to stand up for ourselves, be able to not be defensive, but graceful and in our truth and stand in our truth. So I do think that even those who are not doing the work are being huge catalysts to being those type of teachers who impact us in ways that opens up almost this avenue for us to be able to learn in a way that is uncomfortable. We don't love it, but it's available. And we are grateful for its availability. When I was in 5th grade, I think it was 5th or 4th, I had this teacher named Mrs. Bendix. I'm never going to forget her name. I had a very thick accent, extremely thick. I come from a household where all we speak is Spanish. The moment you would walk into my home when I was younger, all we could speak was Spanish. It was you're not going to speak English. This is a Mexican household, so all Spanish. By 5th grade, I was way better at speaking Spanish than speaking English. Yes, I had gone my whole life to what's it called, a school where it was the US, I'm Californian, and so on. But my accent was thick. I wasn't doing great at school. I remember I was like bored. I was like, well, what are we even doing here? 5th grade, being a rebel. And I remember Mrs. Bendix looked at me straight in the eyes and she talked to me like an adult. And she told me, well, you have two choices. Either you stay behind and you just decide that you're not going to speak English well, even though you are Californian, and you're not going to be at a better pace and have better grades and just stay behind, or you can become the best of the class, but I mean, I don't think you can. That's exactly what she told me. And I remember, I have the visual. And I remember when she told me, and I was like, wow, this is what an opportunity is. Wow, she's being a really good teacher. She was tough. It did hurt. It burned. But she was being a really good teacher. Because although there's a more graceful way of doing things and saying things and supporting a student, at that moment I understood that I wasn't going to receive grace from everyone, but I was receiving some sort of truth. She was giving me the opportunity to learn that it was a choice. It wasn't, oh, poor me, it's because I go home and I don't speak English. Because at the end of the day, my parents were doing me a favor to be bilingual. It was also me being a little lazier because I didn't really want to read out loud or do those things that would help me. So I remember vividly, I was like, well, this doesn't feel fair because she doesn't speak to anyone like this. She's actually very sweet to everyone else. And there are others in the class who weren't doing their best and nothing was said to them. But she's my teacher. And this is specifically the teacher she's being to me. So it's an opportunity. By the end of the year, I got a President's Award because of my grades, because of all the things I had done over the year. And that's when I understood. I am okay with having really good teachers that, although they make me uncomfortable, they don't speak to me the way I want to, I ask for respect, I know how to communicate, but the impact, sometimes it's necessary. So when we talk about spiritual equality, we have to understand that everyone's here to learn something. I could have taken it a whole different way. I could have been like, oh, it's because I'm Mexican and she's not. And I could have gone into that fight. But I didn't want to fight what was there for me. So I always focus on what's available to expand, to learn. And as I've gotten older, I've understood that really good teachers only appear when you're not being your own teacher, when you're not giving yourself that reality check and that truthfulness of, what do I want to work on? What do I want to see in my life? And I also taught her a lot. I spoke to her at the end of the year and I told her to please not speak to anyone like that again. I spoke to her and the principal and everything, and even my mom. I was like, I understand. I loved what happened to me, but that's not kind. And over the years, she did learn a lot as well. But it's about noticing what you do with the information. And that's exactly what happens when you notice equality in spirituality. You see that everyone gets a different story with their parents, a different story with their friendships, with life, with career, with everyone is building something. When we go to the extremes and we have all this nonsense going on earth, when we're able to feed people, but there's always this energy sometimes in the way, I think it's that moment where we have to really connect to courage and understand that equality is also about activating courage on how to do things without falling for that feeling of not being capable of doing something. I think that's the biggest block when it comes to spirituality, losing the faith. But okay, next question. Guidance for helping with frustration during this time. When it comes to frustration, I'm trying to see why you're feeling frustrated. I think yours has a lot to do with not being able to communicate, or communicating once you have a very high emotion. So you're just communicating the emotion versus the reality. It's like saying, uh, I'm thinking of an example, seeing your energy. Let's say that your sibling leaves a mess when they visit you, and you don't know how to communicate because you haven't really activated that type of communication where it's just the truth. It's not about being mean or offending someone or hurting someone. It's just about truth. Let's say they leave a mess and you don't say anything. And then you stay quiet for 3 more times, but then the fourth time it becomes something huge because there's an accumulation of energy, there's an accumulation of assumption, and by then you're mad. You're not just frustrated. So, what you're communicating is not the truth, it's the emotion that has been added up all that time. So, I'm going to give you as homework to really work on communication because that's what I specifically see for you and frustration. That's like the connection I see for you. In general, for everyone else, when it comes to frustration, it has a lot to do with the lack of listening to yourself, because when you don't listen to yourself and you're doing everything based on a rule book, and a rule book is those rules that were given when we're younger and they start adding up and piling up by those belief systems that were given, then you start noticing that there is this buildup of energy accumulated of not listening to yourself. So to be able to release that frustration, you have to notice what you're not listening to yourself about, trying to keep the peace. So, frustration is very connected to the fear of chaos, the fear of being perceived a certain way, kind of like, oh, well, you're a mean person. And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm just telling you the truth. And they're projecting onto you something that their belief system holds, their rule book. And sometimes that's tough to accept and be like, wait, but I'm not mean. I'm just trying to say the truth in a graceful way. It's all about how you do it. Because if your intention is clear and you're being graceful, everything flows all the time. Okay? Okay. Next one. Next and last. Okay, this is about divine life partner. I love this. Do we only have one that we're meant to find, or are there different potential ones? Asking because someone recently came back into my life. He feels like someone I just trust. I felt that way back then and also now. I'm trying to see the energy. Oh, wow. Okay. Trusting someone with that kind of ease is so rare for me, but I also have not experienced butterflies or those chemistry feelings, and now I'm wondering if that is a good or a bad thing. Okay, we love this topic. First of all, divine life partner is all about what is aligned for you. There's not just one. Some people dislike when I say that because then they find their divine life partner and they're like, I would never see myself with anyone else. Well, stay aligned. Stay aligned with the person, which means energetically understand each other, understand the compatibility, understand the love. Stay aligned, because energetically outgrowing something and the other person not doing the work can be tough. Divine life partner is someone who energetically just is connected to your energy. There's no other way. It's just energetically, you can feel them, you can sense them, you feel the peace. It's all about that compatibility within. It's like you both carry the similar wisdom. But then when it comes to butterflies and that chemistry you're talking about, that tends to be a lot of tension, and usually when I tap into energy, the butterflies tends to be anxiety of wanting to be something, to be able to be approved, accepted, loved, almost like be chosen. So chemistry and butterflies, to me, it's almost like that anxiety of being chosen. The peacefulness, the stability, The ease you're talking about, that has a lot of energy of divine life partner. And I want you to focus, instead of chemistry, attraction. There's a huge difference. And for men and women, and just in general, for everyone, when there is attraction, true attraction of that ease, that peace, that comfort, the almost like the way to connect from sensuality to every single way, it's way different than when there's chemistry and butterflies, because it's all about connection, internal connection, being able to share those inner homes, almost like I'm sharing my heart, which is the most vulnerable thing to do, and connect to someone, versus, oh, physically it's fun and nice, but I'm not letting you in. So I'm going to give you a bit of a journal prompt that I like to give those who are meeting their divine life partner. You might be, I can be wrong. Uh, Journal about what your definition of attraction is if you were to trust someone with your heart. And trusting someone with your heart means that you're open to trusting this person. Trusting anyone is a big deal. So trusting this person would mean you truly believe everything they say. You believe that the ease, you believe that it's comfortable, you believe that their truth is all there is. There's no like sensation of, is there more? Are they lying to me? Journal about that. I think you already have your answer. Divine life partner. Trying to see if I didn't miss any part of the question. So there being different potential ones doesn't, I don't want you to connect to the illusion of choice either. The illusion of choice is wanting to be in different timelines when right now you're in a one. So I see this when people are really scared of being vulnerable, but they feel the peace and the ease. They're like, what if I miss out on someone else? They're not living in the now. So reassure yourself to live in the now, to be able to have this experience, because I do energetically see this person coming back is very symbolic to 2022 for some reason. 2022 seems very important. Almost like you've learned how to carry yourself. You've learned how to, yeah, that's the phrase. You've learned how to truly carry yourself. So for anyone else who is intentionally wanting to connect to their divine life partner, notice that knowing yourself and not masking anything about yourself or dimming anything about yourself. And yourself isn't the ego, yourself isn't the wounds being projected to feel secure, to feel the beauty. No, the internal self, the inner home, the truth, that vulnerable part of feeling like, and when you were a little girl and you were just not naive, but almost like just being yourself, just flowing, understanding that being your best friend is the most spiritual thing out there. Because when you are your best friend, you're so in love with yourself that even the little things that you're like, that's not the best. Maybe there's a better thing when it comes to that, but I love it in me. Maybe I'm too loud, but it's just me and I enjoy it. And those who enjoy it, we enjoy it together. But then there's someone who's a little more observant and silent next to me, and I don't compare myself anymore, or I don't look at them and I'm like, why am I not like that? No, because I love me and I'm my best friend. And I understand that when I'm a little more silent, I also love it. So the way you wear things, the way you wear the energy, the way you express the energy, once that starts happening, those who are aligned with your energy start connecting, and not just DLP, not just divine life partner, but also friendships and connections and that nice flow. Okay? But okay, those were the three questions. Now let's do a little bit of announcements. For those who are not part of the membership, remember that there's a new membership. It's all meditations. Honestly, I love channeling the meditations. It is one of my favorite things to do. There's different formats from walking meditation to guidance meditation to connecting to abundance, love, self love, and they're all focused on a very specific month. The ones for April, May, and June are up already. That's the new part of the membership. That's the meditations membership. But then I have level 1, 2, and 3. That depends on how deep you want to do the self work. And when I say self work, is become your best friend. Start healing, start noticing what's blocking that flow, that abundance in your heart. We have master classes this last Sunday. It was probably one of my favorites. It was 5 hours long. We do masterclass workshop Q&A and then close it off with another part of the masterclass. And it's really about you processing how to take in this energy of April and each month and how to really activate your own tools. It is very constructive in a way where you learn how to use your own energy, but also that spiritual part of understanding that you co-create along the way. You become very expansive as you see the beauty in life. I grew up as a channeler. I grew up seeing my guides, seeing ancestors. I grew up seeing all these things. So to me, everything has always been about divine timing. It has always been about how to enjoy life and how to enjoy this process and experience. So now I'm teaching it. And you get to ask a question in the Q&A, and I love when people ask about who are my guides, how to focus on my spirituality in my own way. I am an advocate that everyone has their own way of connecting to God the Creator, to co-creation, to being able to express your energy. So when people talk about authenticity and it's all these rules, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. It's about really knowing how to project that fraction of light that you are. So join us, join the group, join the community, and whatever level you feel called to. The whole level system is more about how much do I want to invest energetically right now to this membership, this energy exchange of time, of homework. Homework to me is a big deal. Voice memos I send you, and so on. Okay. For the next 3 months in the membership, I will be highly focusing on abundance. So everything's going to be focused on abundance. Then level 2 and 3 have access to a workshop, and that workshop is highly focused on whatever next big thing is happening. And this next workshop is all about becoming your own best friend. How can I become my own best friend? We are in the year of self-sovereignty, so that is a huge deal. And then the last thing is my one-on-ones are open. So if you feel called to go even deeper and have a one-on-one session with me to heal, to embody, to release, to undo any blockages, go to the offerings. There's also channeled messages. I just added this option called forecast. You can get your personalized forecast. So if you're ready to just tap into any of the offerings, I'm very excited to go into your energy channel and show you what's available. You are here to expand your energy. You are here to be aligned to that path without going into like little swirls, getting lost in looking for something that you already have within. You already have what you need to get what you want. So that wisdom that you're like looking for, I can help you find it and activate it. and to learn how to use it. So, any ancestor work, any type of um, even intuition you're trying to tap into, I'm your girl. But okay, enjoy your month of April. Send in your questions for the next month for me to answer, and I will see you in May. Bye.